Maulana Haq, the one who supported Gandhiji. The free atmosphere we breathe today did not come to us easily. For this freedom, our elders endured immense hardships, filled the prison cells. Countless mothers lost their children. Many wives became widows, many children were orphaned, and numerous sisters lost their brothers. Our scholars, ulama, kissed the gallows with smiles on their faces. In short, after countless sacrifices, we attained the priceless gift of freedom, which granted us the liberty to speak, write, read, express our thoughts, and live life according to our will. Today, we are called the citizens of a free and independent nation. However, an unfortunate aspect is that we have erased the memories of the architects of modern India, the freedom fighters, and the builders of our nation from our minds in such a short time. By failing to act as a conscious and grateful nation, we have begun to be counted among those nations that forget their national heroes. This negligence on our part has led to a situation where the names of our heroes are no longer mentioned, and the new generation has little knowledge about them. The public is also responsible for this, as remembering them was their duty. Among the forgotten names buried in the annals of history is one of Maulana Mazharul Haq. His sacrifices are written in golden letters in the history of India's independence, but the new generation knows very little about him. Why is that? Because until seminars, conferences, and discussions are held about such figures, their names do not become etched in our minds. Rarely do we see programs organized in Maulana Mazharul Haq's name. Programs and events are one of the most effective ways of engraving a personality in the minds of the new generation. Today, if Mahatma Gandhi is remembered the most, it is not just because of his philosophy of nonviolence, but also due to the continuous programs held in his name. Maulana Mazharul Haq, Early Life and Education. Maulana Mazharul Haq was born on 22nd December 1866 in Bahpura, near Patna, into an affluent and landowning family. Interestingly, the establishment of Darul Uloom Deoband, which became a cradle for freedom fighters, also took place in the same year, 1866. Maulana's initial education, as per tradition, took place at home. In 1876, he passed his middle school examination and enrolled in a college in Patna. However, feeling unsettled there, he moved to King George College in Lucknow. Later, he decided to pursue further studies in London. At that time, it was common for affluent families to send their children to London for higher education. However, Maulana Mazharul Haq's family strongly opposed the British and had actively supported the freedom movement during the 1857 revolt. Therefore, his parents were reluctant to let him go to England. Despite their objections, Maulana, determined to follow his ambitions, left for England in 1888 with only 70 rupees. Coincidentally, Mahatma Gandhi was on the same ship. During his time in England, Maulana developed a close association with Gandhiji, and they frequently exchanged ideas. While pursuing his education, Maulana not only became interested in social work, but also grew more inclined toward anti-British sentiments. In England, he met prominent personalities like Sachidanand Sinha and Hassan Imam. To strengthen the anti-British sentiment and promote unity, Maulana established an organization called Anjuman-e-Islamiyya, which welcomed people of all religions without discrimination. In 1891, Maulana Mazharul Haq returned to India after passing the bar exam and began practicing law in Patna. During his legal career, he successfully handled several complex cases. After some time, he joined the judicial service in Uttar Pradesh and served as a judge. However, due to his natural aversion to the British and their officers' disrespectful behavior, he resigned in 1896 and moved to Chhapra, Saran, where he resumed his legal practice. In Chhapra, Maulana actively participated in social work and took the lead in awakening the local population. During the famine of 1897, he established a relief committee and worked tirelessly to provide food and clothing to those in need, becoming a local hero. From 1903 to 1906, he served as the vice chairman of the Saran municipality and later became the chairman of the Saran board. In 1906, Maulana returned to Patna from Chhapra and resumed his legal practice. On the 16th December 1909, he was elected as a non-official member of the Legislative Council of the Governor-General of Bengal from a Muslim constituency. He chose to serve as a non-official member so he could freely voice public concerns, address their problems, and oppose anti-people decisions. During his tenure, Maulana Mazharul Haq focused heavily on education. He not only supported Gokal's education bill, but also introduced a separate bill advocating for free primary education. This was the first step toward universal free education. He believed that equal attention should be given to the education of girls alongside boys. In addition to education, Maulana was a strong proponent of social reforms and actively worked for them. However, his reformist ideas sometimes invited opposition from his own community. Consequently, he was not re-elected in 1913. In Kanpur, the British demolished a portion of a mosque under the pretext of widening a road, which sparked nationwide protests. People took to the streets, raising slogans against the British across the country. The Muslims of Kanpur also protested, during which several Muslims were killed in police firing, and cases were filed against them instead. Such was the climate of fear that no one was willing to take up the case in defense of the Muslims. At that time, Maulana Mazharul Haq came from Patna to Kanpur to fight the case, offering his services free of charge. Eventually, with the intervention of the Viceroy, the matter was resolved. This case involved the defense of 80 individuals, along with financial and medical assistance to the affected families, in which Maulana played a pivotal role. His efforts were widely appreciated, including by Maulana Azad, who praised him in his publication Al-Hilal. Maulana Mazharul Haq emerged as a national hero for Indians during this time. When Bal Gangadhar Tilak was released from Mandalay jail and launched the Home Rule League movement, Maulana Mazharul Haq fully supported him and led several protests and meetings against the arrests of leaders. Along with Raja Mahmudabad, Maulana played a crucial role in forging coordination and an agreement between the Muslim League and the Indian National Congress, which resulted in the Lucknow Pact. Through this pact, both parties recognized Swaraj, self-rule, as the goal for India. On the 16th of December 1916, under Maulana Mazharul Haq's presidency, a branch of the Home Rule League was established. During this event, Maulana delivered a speech emphasizing the need for the Home Rule League and called for support. The credit for launching the Home Rule League movement in Bihar goes to Maulana Mazharul Haq, who devoted his land, property, money, and time to the freedom struggle. When Mahatma Gandhi set out for Champaran to raise the voice of the farmers, he initially stayed in Patna at Dr. Rajendra Prasad's house. However, in Dr. Rajendra Prasad's absence, his servant refused to allow Gandhi to use the bathroom. When Maulana Mazharul Haq heard about this, he invited Gandhi to stay at his residence and ensured he was hosted until he left for Champaran. Maulana actively participated in the Champaran Satyagraha alongside Gandhi and played a crucial role in its success. As a longtime acquaintance of Gandhi, Maulana provided him full support. When a case was filed against Gandhi for violating Section 144 in Champaran, Maulana Mazharul Haq traveled there, which ultimately led to the withdrawal of the case. Afterward, Gandhi accompanied Maulana to his house in Chhapra. In 1914, the Indian National Congress sent a delegation to Britain to present demands for constitutional reforms on behalf of the Indian people. Maulana Mazharul Haq was part of this delegation. According to Sarojini Naidu, also known as the Nightingale of India, the credit for this effort goes to Maulana Mazharul Haq. Maulana Mazharul Haq was at the forefront of the non-cooperation movement. He was not just a speaker, but also a man of action. He genuinely participated in the movement and, as a first step, withdrew both his sons from the British educational institution, Patna College. The non-cooperation movement was sweeping across the country, and students were also actively participating. They were leaving British institutions and demanding that provisions be made for their education in national institutions. In this context, Jamia Millia Islamia was established. And similarly, Maulana Mazharul Haq laid the foundation of Bihar Vidya Peeth in Patna. The story goes that a few students approached Maulana and asked him to arrange for their education. Maulana, then, established Bihar Vidya Peeth on his own land. Around the same time, Mahatma Gandhi established Kashi Vidya Peeth and Gujarat Vidya Peeth. Many people contributed to Maulana Mazharul Haq's work, and he became the first chancellor of Bihar Vidya Peeth. Brij Kishore Prasad was appointed as vice-chancellor, and Dr. Rajendra Prasad was made the principal. During this period, the establishment of Bihar National College also took place. For this, Gandhi raised around 7,000 to 8,000 rupees from Bihar and handed this money over to the leaders involved. However, it is unfortunate that Bihar Vidya Peeth did not achieve the same level of success as Kashi Vidya Peeth and Gujarat Vidya Peeth. One of Maulana Mazharul Haq's major accomplishments was the establishment of Sadakat Ashram. It was set up on 32 acres of land and housed Bihar Vidya Peeth, the Dr. Rajendra Prasad Museum, Maulana Mazharul Haq Library, Kamla Nehru Shishu Vihar, and several other institutions. Sadakat Ashram also served as the headquarters of the Bihar Congress Committee at that time. Sadakat Ashram became a hub for all the movements, and prominent leaders would stay there. It was a center of activity for the freedom fighters in Bihar, and all decisions related to the construction and independence of India were made there. Even Mahatma Gandhi and his wife, Kasturba Gandhi, stayed there. The foundation of Sadakat Ashram was laid by Maulana Mazharul Haq in 1917. The Sadakat Ashram, founded by Maulana Mazharul Haq, holds the memories of the pre-independence era and the coming moments of freedom. After retiring from the presidency of Dr. Rajendra Prasad, he continued to reside in the premises of this ashram, where he also took his last breath. Besides this, the ashram was of great significance during India's struggle for independence. Freedom fighters from Bihar, Bengal, and the Middle East would gather here for discussions and decisions regarding their mutual ideologies. From 1946 to 1990, all the swearing-in ceremonies of the Bihar Assembly were held here. In short, by establishing Sadakat Ashram, Maulana Mazharul Haq created a sanctuary and a safe haven for the freedom fighters, where leaders from all over would gather. Maulana Mazharul Haq played a significant role in the Khilafat movement. He even traveled to Constantinople, Istanbul, for it and participated with the Ali brothers under the guidance of Mahatma Gandhi. He was in contact with several Turkish leaders, aiming for the restoration of the Khilafat. He held some Muslim countries responsible for the abolition of the Khilafat, which had greatly angered Indian Muslims. Most importantly, Maulana Mazharul Haq was a strong advocate of Hindu-Muslim unity. He believed that whether we are Hindus or Muslims, we are all passengers on the same boat and must travel together. He often emphasized that the most important issue was Hindu-Muslim unity, so both communities could work side by side in the nation-building process. He also played a vital role in the movement to separate Bihar from Bengal. After Bihar's separation, Maulana Mazharul Haq delivered a historic welcome address as the president of the reception committee at the Indian National Congress's 27th session, held in Patna, chaired by R.N. Madholkar. The division of Bengal had caused unrest in India, and the British, in an attempt to exploit this turmoil, introduced the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms to sow discord between Hindus and Muslims. Maulana Mazharul Haq saw through their plan and strongly opposed it. Maulana Mazharul Haq, who was always restless for Hindu-Muslim unity, faced a setback in the November 1926 elections for the Bihar Legislative Council, where he lost. This defeat was a huge blow for him. It wasn't the loss itself that caused pain, but rather the defeat of his ideology. According to the authors of the book, Mazharul Haq, Dr. Qayamuddin, and Dr. Jada Shankar, he lost due to the unified opposition from both Hindus and Muslims. Hindus did not recognize him as their leader, and Muslims opposed him because his views were seen as pro-Hindu. For someone who dedicated most of his life to advocating Hindu-Muslim unity, this defeat was the most merciless blow. During this time, His elder son, Hassan Mazharul Haq, also passed away in an accident, which further deepened his grief and led him to withdraw from worldly affairs. Additionally, the internal differences among freedom fighters and the lack of sincerity in the sacrifice for independence fueled his inclination to turn away from worldly matters. Maulana Mazharul Haq, who made successive sacrifices for the nation, always worked for the welfare of the people. In his later years, he withdrew from active political life, and Mahatma Gandhi wrote about him. He withdrew from the world due to his dissatisfaction with our differences. He was a great patriot, a true Muslim, and a person with a philosophical mind. His words and actions were consistent. Maulana spent his last years in seclusion. He moved to the village of Faryadpur in Siwan, where he owned 32 bighas of land. He planted orchards there, built a bungalow, and also established a school. Having actively participated in India's independence, social, political, and educational activities, Maulana Mazharul Haq suffered a stroke on 27 December 1929 and passed away on the 2nd January 1930. His legacy is gradually fading, and there is a need not only to remember him, but also to promote his legacy to foster unity between Hindus and Muslims. Maulana Mazharul Haq was also interested in journalism and considered it essential for raising his voice. He started an English monthly, Modern Bihar, but it did not last long. Later, he took another bold step by launching an English weekly newspaper called The Motherland from Patna. This too did not survive for long, but it left an ethical lesson for the press. The newspaper set a standard for advertisements, publishing only ads for domestic products and featuring news of national and international importance along with Congress activities. Anti-British articles were given prominent space. After publishing one article, a fine of 1,000 rupees or 3 months in jail was imposed on him. However, Maulana refused to pay the fine in his opposition to the British, resulting in a 3-month sentence. As a result, the Motherland was shut down, but Maulana established an ethical standard in journalism, proving that journalists should never bow down to authorities. In addition to his journalistic work, Maulana Mazharul Haq wrote several books. Some of his important works include The Great Trial, The Khilafat and Land, The Noah's Flood, Mazharul Ulum, and The Rearing of Pigeons. A university named after Maulana Mazharul Haq was established, but it remains without a permanent campus. It is important to note that in 1989, during the tenure of Chief Minister Dr. Jagannath Mishra, the establishment of Maulana Mazharul Haq University, along with 3 other universities, was announced. While the other 3 universities are functioning well today, Maulana Mazharul Haq University is the only one that has failed to establish its identity, leading to considerable dissatisfaction among the Muslim minority community. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, paying tribute to Maulana Mazharul Haq's selflessness, sacrifice, and patriotism, writes, 15 students from Bihar School of Engineering, who were the first to leave their college during the non-cooperation movement, approached Maulana and requested him to make proper arrangements for them. He immediately left his well-established and grand residence, Sikandar Manzil, and, along with the students, sought refuge in a garden near Digha Ghat on Patna-Danapur Road. He built some huts, planted flowers, and within no time, an ashram was established there. Thus, a person who once lived a luxurious life became a resident of a small hut in a garden. Maulana Mazharul Haq named this place Sadakat Ashram. In short, Maulana Mazharul Haq, through his multifaceted services, left a significant impact on every field. He actively supported Mahatma Gandhi in his movements, which led to the success of the Champaran Satyagraha. From there, Gandhiji gained inspiration and started a nationwide movement, ultimately bringing us the priceless gift of independence. Therefore, it is crucial that we remember our national hero and draw inspiration and motivation from his life.
Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for watching our video until the end. We hope you have learned a lot from it. If you liked our content, please subscribe to the channel so that you can receive more interesting videos. Always keep a positive mindset in life. Take care of yourself and spread love and compassion for others. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.